Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go on a field trip and I want you to take a look at this. You see this big tree right here? It's actually two of them. One of them was dead, the other one was dying, and they were leaning a little too much towards my house. So I paid. I didn't do it myself. I'm not that skilled, especially with the trees being long enough or tall enough to where if they fell the wrong way, they could definitely hit my house. And that's why I paid someone to come out here and take them down. I've actually used this chainsaw right here. Take a look at this chainsaw. This is my little Husky, and I've had it for several years, and as you can see, I've done with it what I've done with almost all of my tools. I've used and abused it, and now we're going to go ahead and take it so that it can get a little bit of love. We're going to go ahead and go to Rod's Chainsaw Shop, where they fix chainsaws and they fix small engines, snow blowers, all those things, so that I can show you what a small engine mom and pop shop looks like, at least the one here in Fairbanks, Alaska, and how important it is that you find one near you. Why? Because again, we are not experts in everything. If you are an expert in fixing small engines and things like that, that's great, right? That's a great skill to have, to be able to barter here in the future. But we can't be experts in everything. And it's very important to keep the machinery that you have now in as good running condition as you possibly can. That way, when you need it, it won't fail you. Now, I'm not sure how well you can see all of these trees here, but let's see. There was 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 4 trees that he took down. And these trees right here, you see how long these trees are. And they were pointed right there. They're plenty long to be able to reach my house. And they were actually not necessarily pointed towards my house, but the grade of the soil where they were at was towards my house. And what the gentleman explained to me is that it's not necessarily where the tree is pointing, where it's leaning, but where the grade of the land is going towards. And I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting, right? He didn't use any pulleys. He didn't use anything to pull the trees or anything like that. He pretty much said, I want this tree to fall over there, and that is exactly where it fell. So now that I'm done jabbering, let's go ahead and check out Rod's saw shop. So let's head on over there and see what's going on. I had to voice over this part, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a TV on and I think the news is on right now, as you can see right there at the bottom of the screen. But I thought I'd start this off by showing you all of these old chainsaws that they have here on display. I just think these things are awesome. I mean, these were chainsaws that were probably used right here in Alaska to make it what it is today, or at least here in Fairbanks, Alaska. And I mean, they just have a whole bunch of them all on the top of their walls, as you can see right here, and this corner as well. And this right here caught my eye. All of these little walking sticks right here that they have right next to this rack of chainsaws. And I think that they're really cool. I actually like the one that I have because I just grabbed it from my yard and it works great. But these are really cool for like a souvenir or something like that for someone that's visiting. And as you can see here, they have chainsaws that are, looks like they're trade-ins, or ones that maybe were broken and they fixed, that they have up for sale here. This is actually one of the chainsaws that I have. Not the one that I brought in to get tuned up, but one of the ones that I have back at home. And if anyone knows what this machine is, please let me know. And here's the newer ones, and these are the more pricey ones, the Steels. But these Echoes, I've heard that these Echoes are pretty good chainsaws as well. I really like the Husqvarna that I have because I've always had really good luck with them. And I've tortured the heck out of the little Husky that I have, and it works just fine. And I thought that Eagle right there is pretty cool looking. But they have chainsaws and then more chainsaws. Probably all the brands that you may be looking for, if not more than what you're looking for. They also do deal with some generators here. As you can see, there's some generators on the floor. And they also have all of the peripheries that chainsaws would need as well. You know, like oil, chains, obviously. They deal with weed whackers, as you can see right there. Blowers, air blowers, smaller generators, these Hondas, the expensive ones. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here is my saw. Now listen, if you have a chainsaw or anything that has a small engine, bring it down here. Rod is not ready to be a YouTube star yet, but he doesn't mind doing the voice thing, all right? So let me ask Rod. Rod, what is the address here?
127 Minnie Street.
127 Minnie Street, obviously, in Fairbanks, Alaska, 99701?
That's correct.
99701.
Yeah.
And what else do you service here besides chainsaws? I know for sure, and snowblowers. I know that for sure because I have my snowblower fixed. What else do you service here?
We service pretty much any small engine designed for work-related stuff. You know, we don't do recreational equipment. We'll do occasional mini bike or go-kart or something, but we don't do the snow machines and wave runners. Just work-related small engines, sales, and service.
Wow, you have a nice collection of axe over there. Huh? Do you sharpen things here? Like if somebody brings you in a chain, would you sharpen them?
We do sharpen several items. And the items we don't sharpen, we are a drop-off point for a company called Rosie Creek Sharpening, and he picks up here. So we sharpen or can sharpen just about everything.
Oh, that is awesome. Now, taking a quick look, I'm not going to take too much of your time there, because I know you guys are busy. But look at that, ladies and gentlemen. If you remember the picture that I showed you all of what this thing was looking like before I brought it in, it's obviously different. And, you know, I just have to mention this, okay? Because look at my bar. Now, when I saw my bar, right, when I brought this in, I was like, man, they're going to replace that bar for sure. You can tell that you're working with an honest shop. Even when I mentioned it to them when I was here, and I'm saying this before Rod says anything because I want to make sure that it's coming out authentically. But when I first dropped it off here, I was like, oh man, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to need a bar, right? But I didn't need a bar. And even though I mentioned it, you know, they decided not to put a bar in it because I don't need it. It just looks used, and that's what it's for, right, Rod?
That's very true, but you know what we do, we don't just not replace it. If it does need to be replaced, we will replace it, but we have a bar reconditioning machine.
Oh, nice.
And we actually deburr the bar and we level the rails. If it's worn out enough to where it needs to be replaced, we will replace it, but most times we can recondition it. So
excellent.
It's been reconditioned.
And you can probably tell that this bar's been stuck in a tree a couple of times.
Yeah, and if it's bent or for any reason like that, we would replace it.
Okay.
But it's got a lot of life left.
What regular maintenance items would you recommend that I leave here with? Things that I can do like myself to extend the life of this machine?
You know, the number one thing is keeping your fuel clean, mixing your fuel properly. If you mix your fuel too rich, you can start fouling plugs and plugging your muffler, and it'll just run into it won't run properly. That's the number one thing is keeping your fuel clean and mixing it properly, and then keeping your saw clean, you know, your air filter, keeping your chain sharp is very important. If you don't keep your chain sharp, you're just wearing yourself out and you're wearing your saw out prematurely.
A quick question: How much do you all charge to sharpen a chain?
We charge $10 a chain.
$10 per chain, and what's the turnover on that? A day?
Oh, usually one day. If somebody needs something the same day, we'll try to turn it out the same day.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think this is gonna call it. Oh, look at that! Is that cooler? What in the world is this used for? Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this.
Yeah, I just started.
What is that used? Does it run?
If the battery's dead, I'm kind of afraid people
won't. No, look, it runs. Look.
Yeah. It's a little pruner is what it is. You know,
oh my goodness, that is so cool. All right, well, we're not going to take that today. That's awesome, though. All right, hey, thank you very much, Rod, for everything, and I'm sure that I'll be here again because I treat my equipment terribly, and I admit it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you live here in Fairbanks, come on down here and drop your stuff off. You can see how they treat it. They take care of you the way that you're supposed to be taken care of. And I just think that this shop is awesome because you just don't see this everywhere. Let me know if where you live, they have a small shop like this that's as personal and professional at the same time as Rod's shop is here in Fairbanks, Alaska. Other than that, God bless you all. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out. Ladies and gentlemen, I figured I'd throw in this little bonus clip. These are 3 tools that I'm going to talk about that I believe everyone should have, or everyone that owns a house or lives in an apartment should own. The first one is what I like to call a sniffer. But what it is a gas leak detector. And since many of us in the preparedness community or with a preparedness mindset have backup heating sources that use propane or a fuel of some sort or another, I believe that it is a great idea to have one of these sniffers to make sure that before you start to use something that uses gas of any kind, that you can test the connections and make sure that they're not leaking with something like this. All right. I know that a lot of people like to use the soapy water method, but this right here is a no-brainer, and I believe it's a lot more accurate than trying to see if you can spot bubbles. The next one is a little more pricey, but it's this carbon monoxide detector, where it will allow you to not only detect carbon monoxide, but see what the ppm levels are inside. Again, going back to where a lot of us with the preparedness mindset have backup heating that uses propane or even any other gas inside of our homes, we want to make sure that even the fail-safes, that the equipment that we're using, let's take for example one of the little buddies, one of the big buddy heaters that uses propane. Well, those heaters, they have a fail-safe where if they detect that the oxygen level in the room is not high enough, they'll turn off. They have another fail-safe where if you tip it over, it'll turn off. But what if that fails? What if that function in it fails and you don't know? Having something like this right here that you can actually manually and consciously take a look and see what the ppm of CO2 is in your home or wherever it is that you're using that piece of equipment to heat your space is a great thing to have. This one's a little bit pricier, but I believe it's worth every penny to have this just in case you need to resort to using backup heat for your home. The last one is a voltage detector that does not require you to have to touch the wire, ladies and gentlemen. So pretty much it's an electricity detector, right? It detects whether there's electricity going through a wire or not. And you know that most of us have backup energy sources for a grid down scenario. And you never know when you may have to troubleshoot the failure of getting electricity from point A to point B. And this tool just mitigates you getting shocked with electricity, making your troubleshoot safer than if you were going to have to, let's say, touch wires that you did not know were energized. So I think this is a great tool, great price as well, ladies and gentlemen. These three tools are things that I think everyone ought to have in their homes just in case. And as you can see, the price is not ridiculous. But if you can find them somewhere else for cheaper, by all means, definitely get them where you can get them for cheaper, especially if it's somewhere local near to where you live. All right, having said that, thank you very much for sticking till the end. I hope that you got something out of this little bonus clip. Other than that, have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. God bless every one of you.